The city screamed. Not in the way cities usually did, with honking horns, blaring sirens, and the chatter of a million restless souls. No, this was different. This was pure, unfiltered horror. Los Angeles had turned into a nightmare, and Logan Carter was right in the middle of it. He gripped his pistol as he sprinted through the wreckage of a downtown intersection, his breath ragged, his heart hammering. Around him, chaos reigned, abandoned cars clogged the streets, their drivers either dead or turned. Bodies littered the sidewalks, some still twitching as if trying to remember what it meant to be human. The infected moved between them, moaning, hunting. Logan had seen bad things before, he'd been LAPD for 10 years, but this? This was something else. Up ahead, a young woman in an EMT uniform bolted across the street, blood splattered across her face. Sofia Reyes. Logan had met her just an hour ago when she pulled him out of a wrecked police car. She hadn't hesitated. Now, he wasn't about to leave her behind. "Keep moving," Logan barked as he caught up to her. "I'm trying," she gasped. "They're everywhere." And she was right. From a burning department store, a wave of infected stumbled out, dozens of them, their eyes milky white, their mouths twisted in hunger. Some ran, others limped, but they all had the same goal. Behind Logan, a teenage boy emerged from an alley, carrying a laptop bag over his shoulder. Jaden. A hacker, barely 16, who had managed to break into an emergency broadcast channel and warn people that the government was abandoning the city. Not far behind, Marcus, tall, muscular, and covered in prison tattoos, wielded a bloodied crowbar. He had broken out of his transport bus when the outbreak hit, but instead of running, he'd chosen to stick with Logan. A man like that didn't survive behind bars by being soft. "They're cutting us off," Marcus shouted. "We gotta find another way." Logan scanned the street. Their path to the freeway was blocked, military barricades were overrun, soldiers either dead or gone. Explosions rocked the city as the Air Force bombed infection hot zones. Smoke billowed into the sky. Then he saw it, a subway entrance. The stairs leading down were clear, the gates hanging open. Underground might be the only chance they had. "There," Logan pointed. "We take the tunnels." Jaden hesitated. "What if?" "I don't care. Move." They ran. The moment they hit the stairs, the infected let out a piercing shriek. They came fast, sprinting like rabid animals, their feet slamming against pavement. Sofia was first into the tunnel, leaping over a mangled turnstile. Logan followed, dragging Jaden after him. Marcus stayed behind just long enough to swing his crowbar, crushing a zombie's skull before diving down the stairs. A second later, the doors to the subway slammed shut. Darkness swallowed them. Above, the city burned. Below, something else lurked in the shadows. The stench hit them first. The moment Logan and his group descended into the subway tunnel, the foul mix of rot, urine, and death clung to the air like a suffocating blanket. The overhead lights flickered erratically, casting jagged shadows across the platform. Somewhere in the distance, the sound of dripping water echoed through the cavernous space. Logan exhaled sharply, gripping his pistol tighter. They had escaped the chaos of the streets, but now they were stepping into the unknown. "We shouldn't be down here," Jaden muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. His fingers trembled as he adjusted his laptop bag. What if the infected are already here? Marcus, standing near the tracks, let out a low chuckle. "Kid, the whole damn city is infected. There ain't no safe place." Sofia pressed her back against a concrete pillar, her chest rising and falling in rapid breaths. "He's not wrong," she said. "But if we stay up top, we're dead for sure. At least down here, we have cover." Logan scanned the area. The station was empty, no movement, no sound except for the occasional flicker of electricity overhead. A small blessing, but it wouldn't last. "All right," he said. "We move quietly. Find a way out before more of those things get in." The group nodded, and they started forward, boots crunching over shattered glass and discarded belongings. Then they saw the bodies. At the far end of the platform, a pile of corpses had been stacked against the wall. Some still twitched, half-devoured, their insides leaking onto the grimy tiles. Blood smeared the floor in chaotic patterns, a gruesome testament to the massacre that had taken place. Sophia gagged, turning away. "Jesus," Jayden whispered. Marcus stepped forward, crouching beside the bodies. "Fresh," he muttered. "Maybe an hour old." He glanced at Logan. "Which means whoever did this might still be here." A deep chill settled in Logan's spine. He motioned for them to move. "Let's not find out." They stepped carefully around the carnage, heading toward a darkened tunnel where the tracks disappeared into the abyss. The plan was simple: follow the subway system, find another exit, and emerge somewhere safer. If safer even existed anymore. They hadn't made it 50 feet before something moved in the shadows. A scuffling sound. A breath. Then, a whisper. Logan froze. His instincts screamed. Someone was watching them. Marcus reacted first, swinging his flashlight toward the source of the sound. The beam landed on a figure crouched near the maintenance doors. A woman. She was young, maybe in her 20s, with wild, sunken eyes and a gaunt frame. Her clothes were torn, her hands bloodied. But what caught Logan's attention was the knife clutched in her grip, gleaming in the dim light. "Whoa, whoa," Sophia said, raising her hands. "We're not here to hurt you." The woman didn't move. Her eyes darted between them, untrusting. "They're coming," she whispered. Logan's muscles tensed. "Who?" Before she could answer, a sound tore through the tunnels. A screech. Not like the moaning zombies above. This was different. Feral. Fast. Then came the pounding of feet. From the far end of the tunnel, something was running toward them. "Move!" Logan shouted. The group scattered as the first creature burst into view. It was not like the slow, shambling corpses they had encountered above. This one sprinted on all fours, its limbs twisted unnaturally. Its jaw hung open wider than any human should, rows of jagged teeth glistening with fresh gore. Milky white eyes locked onto them as it let out another ear-piercing shriek. Then it charged. Sophia fired first. Her bullet ripped into the creature's shoulder, but it barely slowed. Logan aimed, steady hands squeezing the trigger. Bang! The shot struck home. The monster's head snapped back, and it collapsed onto the tracks, its body convulsing violently before going still. Silence. Heavy breathing. Jayden swallowed hard. What the hell was that? Sophia's voice was shaky. That wasn't a normal infected. The woman, still clutching her knife, stepped forward. Her face was pale, her voice hollow. "They're changing," she whispered. "And they're not the worst thing down here." Somewhere in the tunnel, more screeches echoed. The echoes of the inhuman screeches sent ice through Logan's veins. Whatever these things were, they were faster, smarter, and deadlier than the infected they had faced above. "We need to get out of here," Sophia said, glancing between the tunnel's darkness and the maintenance doors. "Now." The woman who had warned them, her name was Riley, nodded frantically. "There's an access ladder that leads up to the street. But if we go the wrong way, we're dead." Logan's jaw tightened. "Then lead the way." With a nod, Riley turned and sprinted toward a rusted maintenance door. Jayden hesitated for only a moment before following, while Marcus brought up the rear, his crowbar ready. They pushed through the door into a dimly lit service tunnel, the walls slick with moisture and something darker Logan didn't want to think about. The smell was unbearable, death and sewage mixed into something that made his stomach churn. As they moved, Sophia whispered, "That thing we saw, the way it moved. Have you ever?" "No," Logan cut her off. "I don't know what it was, and I don't care. We focus on getting out." Behind them, the screeches came again, closer this time. They climbed a rickety metal ladder at the end of the tunnel, one by one, emerging onto the ruined streets of Los Angeles. And if the subway had been hell, this was something worse. The city was burning. Buildings were engulfed in flames, thick black smoke choking the sky. In the distance, the sound of automatic gunfire rattled like thunder. Helicopters roared overhead, but they weren't rescuing anyone, they were bombing the most infected zones, setting entire blocks ablaze. In the streets, they were flooded with the dead. Thousands of infected swarmed through the boulevards, tearing apart anything that moved. Logan watched in horror as a group of survivors tried to fight them off near a crushed city bus. A man swung a metal pipe at a zombie's skull, but before he could land the blow, 3 more tackled him to the ground, teeth sinking into his flesh. His screams didn't last long. "We can't stay here," Jaden whispered, his voice shaking. Marcus wiped sweat from his brow, scanning the ruined cityscape. "We need a ride. Something fast." "That way," Riley said, pointing toward a parking garage across the street. There were still cars in there when I came down. Logan hesitated. The garage wasn't far, but between them and it was a sea of infected. Moving through the streets meant risking everything. He turned to the others. "We go fast, stay quiet, and don't stop." "Understood?" Sophia nodded. Marcus cracked his knuckles. Jaden swallowed his fear. Then they ran. They weaved between wrecked cars and piles of bodies, ducking behind an overturned ambulance as a group of zombies shambled past. The creatures weren't as fast as the one in the tunnels, but they were still deadly. One wrong noise, one wrong step, and they'd be swarmed. Halfway across the street, Jaden tripped. His knee hit the pavement with a sickening crack. He let out a sharp yelp, too loud. Every infected in the area snapped their heads toward him. And then they charged. "Run!" Logan roared, grabbing Jaden by the arm and hauling him to his feet. The group sprinted toward the parking garage as the horde came after them. The creatures slammed into cars, climbed over wreckage, their guttural moans turning into furious shrieks. Marcus reached the entrance first, shoving open the heavy steel doors. "Move!" They barreled inside, and Marcus slammed the door shut behind them just as the first infected reached it. Bang! 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 Fists and rotting flesh pounded against the metal, their screeches vibrating through the air. Jaden collapsed against a wall, panting. That was way too close. Sophia wiped sweat from her forehead, her hands still trembling. "We need to find a car. Now." They sprinted up the ramp, scanning rows of abandoned vehicles. Some had shattered windows, others were blocked in by wreckage. But near the back, Logan spotted a black SUV, large, sturdy, and more importantly, the driver's side door was open. He rushed forward, sliding inside. "Keys, keys." He flipped down the sun visor, and the metal jingle of car keys hitting his lap sent a wave of relief through him. "Get in," he barked. The others scrambled inside as Logan jammed the key into the ignition. The engine roared to life. Then the doors at the garage entrance burst open. And they weren't alone anymore. The blood vultures had arrived. A gang of ruthless survivors, armed to the teeth and hunting anyone weaker than them. Their leader, a towering man with a scarred face and a shotgun slung over his shoulder, smirked as he stepped forward. Well, he drawled. "Looks like we just found ourselves a ride." Logan's grip tightened on the steering wheel. The zombies outside were one nightmare. But the people inside? They might be worse. Logan's knuckles turned white against the steering wheel. The blood vultures. He had heard about gangs like them, scavengers who had thrown away whatever shred of humanity they had left. They didn't just take supplies. They took people. And now they had Logan and his group cornered. The leader, a scarred brute with a shotgun, took a step forward, his boots echoing through the dimly lit parking garage. Behind him, 5 others followed, weapons drawn, pistols, bats, machetes. They looked hungry. "Step out real slow," Scarface said, tilting his head. "No need to make this messy." Logan didn't move. He could hear Sophia's sharp breathing in the back seat, Jaden's fingers tapping nervously against the door handle, Marcus shifting beside him. They weren't getting out of this without a fight. Scarface let out a low chuckle, sensing their hesitation. "All right," he sighed, raising his shotgun. "We'll do it the fun way." Logan slammed his foot on the gas. The SUV roared forward. The blood vultures barely had time to react before the vehicle barreled toward them. Scarface dove out of the way, but one of his men wasn't so lucky. The front bumper caught him full force, sending him crashing into a parked car with a sickening crunch. Gunfire erupted as the gang fired wildly at them. Bullets shattered the SUV's back window, sending glass flying, but Logan kept his grip steady. "Hold on," he shouted. They sped up the ramp, bullets pinging off the metal frame. Jaden let out a panicked yelp as a round tore through the seat beside him. "Faster, man, faster!" Marcus barked. Logan yanked the wheel, sending the SUV crashing through the garage's security gate and onto the burning streets of Los Angeles. A wall of fire roared just a block away, smoke thickening the air. More infected swarmed in the distance, drawn by the sound of gunfire. "We need a plan," Sophia yelled. "I'm working on it," Logan snapped. Riley, still clutching her knife, suddenly blurted, "Griffith Park." Logan shot her a look. "What?" "There's a bunker," she said quickly. "Government. Underground. I heard a transmission saying they have supplies, weapons, maybe even a cure." "A cure?" Jaden's head snapped toward her. "Wait, what? Why didn't you say that earlier?" Riley swallowed hard. "Because I don't know if it's real. I only caught part of the message before the signal went dead. But if there's even a chance..." "We don't have a better option," Sophia interrupted. Logan clenched his jaw. He didn't like chasing rumors, but right now, they were running out of choices. He twisted the wheel, turning the SUV toward Griffith Park. Behind them, the blood vultures were already piling into their own vehicles. Scarface climbed onto a motorcycle, his shotgun gleaming under the burning sky. "They're coming!" Jaden shouted. Logan gritted his teeth. This wasn't over yet. The highway of death. The freeway was in ruins. Abandoned cars stretched for miles, creating a deadly maze of twisted metal and broken glass. Fires burned in pockets along the road, casting eerie shadows across the asphalt. And the infected were everywhere. They moved faster now, no longer just the slow, shambling corpses from the first days of the outbreak. Some sprinted on all fours, their bodies twisted beyond recognition. Others hung from the wreckage of overturned buses, snarling as Logan's SUV sped past. And behind them, the blood vultures were closing in. A motorcycle roared as Scarface pulled up alongside them, shotgun raised. He grinned. Boom. Logan jerked the wheel as the blast shattered the driver's side mirror. Marcus rolled down his window, raised his pistol, and fired. The bullet caught Scarface in the arm, sending him wobbling, but he gritted his teeth and steadied himself. "They're not stopping," Sophia shouted. "Neither are we," Logan growled. Up ahead, the freeway split, one path led toward Griffith Park, the other was a wrecked overpass, completely collapsed. Logan made his choice. He floored the gas, swerving toward the narrowest gap between wrecked cars. The SUV scraped against twisted metal, sparks flying as they squeezed through. Behind them, Scarface's motorcycle didn't make it, his bike clipped the edge of a wreck, sending him flying through the air. His scream was cut short as he crashed into the freeway below. The other blood vultures skidded to a stop, realizing they couldn't follow. They had lost them. For now. Griffith Park, the last hope? The road leading to Griffith Park was eerily silent. No infected. No gunfire. Just the whispering wind and the distant crackle of flames. Logan pulled the SUV to a stop near the entrance. Trees loomed in the darkness, their branches swaying like skeletal fingers. "This doesn't feel right," Marcus muttered. Riley pointed toward a clearing ahead. The bunker's supposed to be that way. They climbed out of the vehicle, weapons ready, moving carefully through the trees. Then they saw it. A reinforced metal door built into the side of a rocky hill, half buried beneath debris and foliage. Jaden's eyes widened. It's real. Sophia stepped forward, brushing dirt from an electronic keypad near the door. There's power, she whispered. Someone's inside. She reached out, hesitating for only a moment before pressing a button. A voice crackled through an unseen speaker. Who's there? Logan stepped forward. Survivors. Silence. Then, the sound of locks disengaging. The door creaked open. A woman stood in the doorway, her face partially obscured by shadows. She was dressed in a tattered lab coat, her eyes filled with something between exhaustion and paranoia. You should not have come here, she whispered. Before anyone could react, a siren blared from inside the bunker. And from the trees behind them, something began to move. The nightmare was far from over. The siren's wail tore through the night like a death knell. Logan spun around, weapon raised, scanning the treeline. The once still branches shook violently as something moved beyond the darkness. Sophia turned back toward the woman in the lab coat. Turn it off, she hissed. The woman didn't move. Her face was frozen in an expression of terror, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. Turn it off. Logan barked. The woman snapped out of her trance, slamming her hand against the keypad. The siren cut off instantly, leaving only the echo of its haunting cry in the air. For a moment, silence. Then a shriek. Not human. Not like the infected they had faced before. Something big was in those trees. Inside. Now, the woman whispered. Logan didn't need to be told twice. He pushed Jaden and Sophia through the open bunker door, while Marcus kept his gun trained on the treeline. The rustling grew more intense. Heavy footsteps pounded against the dirt. Then came the smell. Rot. Blood. Death. Marcus backed toward the entrance, still aiming. I don't know what the hell that is, but I don't want to find out. Before they could see what lurked beyond the trees, the bunker door slammed shut, locking them inside. Below Los Angeles. Darkness swallowed them. Then, dim emergency lights flickered to life, casting eerie shadows along the concrete walls. The air smelled of metal, sweat, and something else, sterilization, like a hospital. Riley clutched her knife tighter, her knuckles pale. What is this place? The woman took a shaky breath. It was supposed to be our salvation. Now that they could see her better, Logan noticed the dark circles under her eyes, the hollow look of someone who had seen too much. Marcus stepped forward, folding his arms. Mind explaining what the hell that means? The woman exhaled. My name is Dr. Evelyn Carter. I worked at a facility beneath Griffith Park when the outbreak started. Jaden narrowed his eyes. Facility? You mean like some government bunker? Dr. Carter hesitated. Then she shook her head. No. It was something worse. Logan's patience was wearing thin. Start talking. Dr. Carter ran a hand through her tangled hair. You don't understand. This outbreak, it wasn't natural. Silence filled the room. Sophia took a step closer. What are you saying? Dr. Carter licked her lips, choosing her words carefully. The infected you've seen, the slow ones, the runners, they were just the beginning. Jaden's voice wavered. And, what was outside? Dr. Carter's eyes darkened. One of the evolved. The room seemed to shrink. Marcus broke the silence first. What the hell is an evolved? Dr. Carter clenched her fists. When the infection spread, it didn't just turn people into zombies. It adapted. Some infected didn't just rot, they changed. Became stronger, smarter. And some of them learned to hunt. Sophia's voice was barely above a whisper. That thing outside. Dr. Carter nodded. If it followed you, we're in danger. As if on cue, a deep, guttural growl reverberated through the metal walls. Jayden flinched. Oh, come on. A heavy thud shook the bunker door. Dr. Carter's face went pale. It knows we're here. No way out. Logan's mind raced. They had survived the streets, escaped the blood vultures, and made it here, only to be trapped underground with something worse than a zombie lurking just beyond the door. Marcus reloaded his gun. We're not gonna sit here and wait to die. You got weapons in this place? Dr. Carter hesitated. Some. But if that thing gets in. Boom. The door buckled inward. Dust rained from the ceiling. Jayden's breath hitched. That's metal reinforced, right? Dr. Carter swallowed hard. It won't hold forever. Logan's instincts screamed at him to move. Weapons. Now. Dr. Carter led them down a dimly lit corridor. The air grew colder as they passed doors labeled with faded military-style stenciling. Lab 01. Test chamber. Quarantine. Logan didn't like any of those names. They reached a storage room, and Dr. Carter yanked it open. Inside were a few assault rifles, extra ammunition, and a handful of medical supplies. Marcus whistled. Finally, some good news. Sophia grabbed an M4 and checked the mag. We need an exit strategy. Now. Dr. Carter shook her head. The main door is our only way out, but if we open it now, that thing will. Boom. The bunker door dented inward, something clawing against it furiously. Jayden grabbed a rifle, his hands shaking. I really hate this plan. Logan looked at Dr. Carter. You said this bunker was meant to be salvation. What were you people doing down here? Dr. Carter's gaze fell to the floor. We were trying to stop the outbreak. To create a cure. But. Her voice broke. Marcus frowned. But. Dr. Carter exhaled shakily. We failed. The bunker shook again. Sophia's voice hardened. Then we get out of here. One way or another. Logan slung his rifle over his shoulder. We're not dying in this hole. He looked at the others. Let's fight our way out. From the corridor behind them, a metallic hiss sounded. The group spun, weapons raised. A door labeled Lab 01 had just unlocked on its own. And from inside the lab, something moved. The nightmare was far from over. The hiss of the Lab 01 door sent a chill down Logan's spine. Everyone turned, weapons raised, the cold air from inside creeping into the corridor like a silent warning. The flickering emergency lights barely illuminated what lay beyond the threshold. Something moved in the shadows. A wet, gurgling sound. Not quite human. Shut the door, Jayden whispered, gripping his rifle so tightly his knuckles turned white. But Dr. Carter stood frozen, her eyes locked on the darkened lab as if she had seen a ghost. Sophia grabbed her arm. What's in there? Dr. Carter swallowed hard. It's where we kept the test subjects. Marcus's jaw tightened. Test subjects? You mean? A growl. Not from the bunker door. From inside the lab. Logan didn't wait for an explanation. He aimed his rifle into the darkness. We don't have time for this. Either we seal this door, or we move. Now. Dr. Carter snapped out of her daze. There's another exit in the lab. A secondary maintenance hatch. It might still work. Marcus eyed the flickering lights inside. And what's the catch? Dr. Carter took a slow breath. Some of the early-stage infected were contained in there. Before they evolved, her voice trailed off. I don't know if any are still alive. Jayden scoffed. Alive? Doc, they're zombies. She didn't respond. Another low snarl echoed from inside. Logan's instincts screamed not to go in there. But the bunker door behind them was nearly caving in. They had no choice. Move, he ordered. Inside Lab 01. The air was thick with the stench of rot and chemicals. Logan's boots squelched against something wet on the floor, but he didn't dare look down. Rows of glass containment cells lined the walls, most shattered, their contents long gone. Blood was smeared across the floors and walls, some dried, some fresh. "Jesus," Sophia muttered, her voice barely above a whisper. Jaden's breathing was fast and shallow. "This place is worse than the streets." Logan focused on the goal. "Where's the exit?" Dr. Carter pointed toward a secured door at the far end of the room, past the containment units. A keypad glowed dimly beside it. "We just need to override the lockdown," she said, stepping toward a control panel. Marcus kept his gun trained on the darkness. "Hurry up." Dr. Carter's fingers flew across the keyboard. The screen flickered, a loading bar crawling painfully slow. Then, a crash. Something lunged from the shadows. A blur of gray flesh and black veins, its mouth unnaturally wide, filled with rows of jagged, needle-like teeth. It slammed into Jaden, knocking him to the ground. His rifle clattered across the floor. "Jaden!" Sophia screamed. The creature shrieked, pinning him down. Its hands were elongated, fingers ending in razor-sharp claws. Jaden barely managed to shove his arm between them as the thing snapped its jaws at his throat. "BLAM!" Logan fired. The bullet ripped through the creature's head, sending it twitching violently before collapsing. Jaden scrambled backward, panting. His arm was cut, but he was alive. "What the hell was that?" Marcus breathed, staring at the corpse. Dr. Carter's voice was hoarse. "That was an alpha." Sophia glared at her. "You knew these things were still in here." Dr. Carter didn't respond. The loading bar on the control panel dinged. The secured exit door clicked open. "We're leaving," Logan growled. They rushed toward the hatch, but just as they reached it, the bunker door behind them gave way. The Evolved breaks in. A deafening screech filled the air as the main bunker door ripped off its hinges. Logan turned in time to see it. 7 feet tall. Hulking. Twisted flesh fused with jagged bone protrusions. Red, pupilless eyes locked onto them with terrifying intelligence. The Evolved. It charged. "Run!" Logan bellowed. They dove through the hatch, scrambling into a tight maintenance tunnel. Sophia hit a control panel on the inside, slamming the hatch shut. Boom! The Evolved slammed against the other side. The metal groaned but held, for now. Panting, Logan looked ahead. The tunnel stretched into darkness. But at the far end, a faint light glowed. Dr. Carter wiped sweat from her brow. "This should lead to an exterior shaft. We'll come out near the hills." Jaden winced, clutching his injured arm. "We keep running into things worse than zombies." Logan steadied his breathing. They were running out of places to hide. Marcus checked his ammo. "We need to get the hell out of LA." Sophia looked at Dr. Carter. "You said there were other bunkers. Any still operational?" Dr. Carter hesitated. "Maybe. There was one. A facility in the Mojave Desert." Jaden scoffed. "Let me guess. More monsters?" Dr. Carter nodded grimly. "And something else." Logan clenched his jaw. "What?" Dr. Carter looked at him, eyes filled with exhaustion. "The last research team was working on something before we lost contact." She swallowed. "They called it Project Genesis." Silence. Then, a new sound echoed through the tunnel. Not behind them. Ahead. Something was waiting for them in the dark. And it was hungry. The sound echoed from the tunnel ahead, a clicking, chittering noise. Logan's grip on his rifle tightened. They had barely escaped the Evolved, and now something else was waiting for them. Sophia exhaled sharply. "You've got to be kidding me." Dr. Carter's voice was barely above a whisper. "I don't know what's down here." Jaden wiped the sweat from his brow. That makes me feel so much better. Document. A low growl vibrated through the air. Logan took a step forward, rifle raised. We keep moving. Marcus nodded, reloading his gun. Let's not wait for whatever's ahead to find us first. The tunnel was narrow, cold, the metal walls slick with condensation. A foul chemical scent mixed with the ever-present stench of death. Sophia's boots splashed in something wet. She didn't look down. Dr. Carter led them deeper into the underground corridor. The air grew staler, heavier. A feeling of wrongness settled over them. Then, they saw it. The hive. The tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. And it was filled with bodies. Rows of cocoons, organic-looking growths, and twisted human remains clung to the walls like something out of a nightmare. The air was humid, unnaturally warm. Marcus cursed under his breath. The hell is this? Dr. Carter's face turned pale. I don't know. This wasn't here before. Logan stepped forward cautiously. The cocoons were pulsing, something was inside them. Jaden backed away. Nope. 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 I've seen this movie before. Logan held up a fist. Quiet. They all froze. Something was moving between the cocoons. A thin, elongated shape crawled along the ceiling, almost human, but wrong. Its arms were too long, its mouth split open vertically, revealing rows of glistening, needle-like teeth. Its eyes were empty sockets, but it knew they were there. It let out a wet, clicking sound. Then, it leaped. The hive attack. BLAM. Logan fired first, the bullet slamming into the creature's shoulder. It shrieked, but didn't fall. Instead, it twisted unnaturally, crawling along the walls like an insect. Then, other cocoons began to stir. Sophia's voice was sharp. We need to move. Now. Dr. Carter pointed across the chamber. The exit's that way. Marcus aimed at the creature. Cover me. He sprinted forward, gun blazing. The first creature dropped from the ceiling, lunging toward him. Bam. Bam. Sophia's rifle ripped through its head. The creature twitched, convulsed, then went still. But now, the other cocoons were bursting open. Dozens of them. The things emerged, screeching. Fast. Unnatural. Starving. Jaden cursed. Run. The group sprinted through the hive as creatures rained from the ceiling, shrieking, crawling over each other to reach them. Marcus tossed a grenade behind them. Boom. The explosion rocked the chamber, collapsing part of the tunnel. Jaden grinned. Hell yeah. Then, something grabbed Logan. Captured. Long, clawed fingers dug into his shoulder. Before he could react, Logan was yanked off his feet. Sophia spun around. Logan! The creature dragged him toward the darkness, its limbs moving too fast, too fluid. Logan struggled, slamming his elbow into its face. The thing shrieked, but didn't let go. More creatures emerged from the shadows. Jaden raised his gun. We have to go back. Dr. Carter's voice was desperate. If we do, we all die. Logan's vision blurred as the creature hauled him into the abyss. Sophia's voice echoed behind him. Logan! Then, darkness. Darkness swallowed Logan whole. He thrashed against the creature's grip, but its clawed fingers dug deeper into his flesh, dragging him deeper into the hive. The air was thick with moisture and rot. Strange chittering noises echoed all around. Then, he was thrown to the ground. Logan hit the damp, fleshy floor hard, pain lancing through his ribs. Dim, sickly green light pulsed around him, illuminating the nightmare. The hive's core. Dozens of half-human monstrosities lined the walls, their bodies fused to organic structures, twitching like broken puppets. And at the center, a towering mass of fused flesh, bone, and writhing tendrils. Its sunken, hollow eyes locked onto Logan. A deep, guttural voice echoed in his mind. Human. You do not belong here. Logan gritted his teeth. Yeah, well, neither do you. The rescue mission. Gunfire rang out. BLAM. BLAM. A burst of bullets ripped through the air as Marcus, Sophia, Jaden, and Dr. Carter stormed into the chamber. Logan's heart leapt. They came back. Move! Sophia shouted, gunning down one of the creatures lunging toward him. Jaden tossed a Molotov, the flames spreading fast. Marcus grabbed Logan's arm. Can you walk? Logan grunted. I'll manage. But the hive wasn't done. The fused monstrosity in the center let out a horrific screech. The entire chamber began to shake. Tendrils lashed out. One nearly impaled Marcus, but he dodged just in time. Dr. Carter sprinted to a control panel embedded in the wall. There's an emergency purge system. I can overload it, blow this whole place sky high. Jaden grinned. Now we're talking. More creatures poured in. Sophia shot one midair. We don't have time for a countdown, Doc. Dr. Carter's fingers flew across the panel. I need 30 seconds. Marcus fired into the mass of creatures. You've got 10. Race to the surface. The hive trembled violently as alarms blared. Dr. Carter slammed the final override. Run. The purge countdown began. 10. 9. 8. They sprinted through the collapsing tunnels, dodging falling debris and grasping tendrils. A wall of creatures blocked the main exit. Logan gritted his teeth. We make a hole. Sophia and Marcus unloaded their magazines, cutting down the infected as they charged through. Jaden lobbed his last grenade. Surprise, mother. Boom. The explosion ripped through the horde, clearing the way. 3. 2. 1. They burst through the exit hatch just as a massive explosion engulfed the hive below. The ground rumbled violently, and a shockwave of fire and debris shot into the sky. They barely made it over the ridge before the entire facility collapsed into the earth. Silence. Then, Jaden groaned. Okay. That sucked. Sophia helped Logan to his feet. You good? Logan nodded, still catching his breath. We're alive. Marcus looked out at the burning ruins. So what now? Dr. Carter exhaled. We head for the desert facility. If Project Genesis is still there, it might be our only shot at ending this. Jaden sighed. Great. More nightmares. Logan smirked. At least we're still in the fight. As the ruins of Los Angeles smoldered behind them, they turned toward the horizon. The zombie nightmare wasn't over. But neither were they.